Well, what the fuck am I supposed to do for an intro? Well, hello everyone. This is Neon Fox Let's Plays with not a Let's Play video? How odd. Well, I wanted to branch out a bit. That's kind of why I'm doing this video. Don't worry, I'm still going to do Let's Play videos, and I always will. There's no doubt in that. But I wanted to start to do commentaries. Why? Well, after watching a lot of commentary videos from Slap Happy Gamer, Youngblood Fantasy, A-Log, the list goes on and on and on, I kind of got into it and I wanted to do some of my own. So, while doing these random commentaries, I'm going to go by the title of Sir Raven because, as I don't know if any of you guys know this, I am an avid Billy and Mandy fan. And also, I miss the days when Cartoon Network was good. Fuck you, see Unreal. So, let's start over with introductions again to kind of get, a good rhythm going with this. So, Golden Dao, everyone. This is Sir Raven here with my first commentary. Yay, memories. So, who to review first? Choices. Ooh, I know, since I might be doing a Sonic Let's Play very soon, let's do one on a infamous Sonic recolor artist. Yeah, I'm not gonna tackle that mess of crazy. I think it'd be good to start with one that's more recent. Ah, that's better. Joshua8428, or also known as Shadvic the Hedgehog, he's one of the more infamously known Sonic recolor artists. Now, if you don't know what a recolor artist is, here's a bit of a primer. Sonic recolor artists take pictures of Sonic characters and with the magic of a paint program, presto! A new character that's completely original. They're also guilty of having very Mary Sue personalities, and God forbid if they ever receive the slightest bit of criticism, because completely copying another character is just as creative as making your own. This is something that Joshua is guilty of, but being a recolor artist is the least of our and his worries. He often gets criticized heavily for his subpar commentaries and reviews due to his poor reasoning and bad arguments. Don't believe me? Look at his commentary on the Nostalgia Critic's review of the Inspector Gadget movie. He also likes to lash out at anyone who gives him criticism, somewhat how like a child throws a tantrum. But for my first commentary, we should be looking at his first video game review. Let's just say Joshua hasn't had a good track record when it comes to making commentaries and reviews, so I'm not expecting much on his first video game review. Instead of doing a review on a person with a Sonic recolor, I should use a Sonic character. Who should I use? Oh, I know. I think Knack the Weasel or Fang the Sniper would be a pretty good choice. I mean, after all, he's one of my favorite characters. I always played him in Sonic the Fighters. And I don't know, he just seems really fitting to go against these Sonic recolor crap artists. After all, he is kind of an enemy to Sonic, and I do like the Chaotix. Well, anyways, I think this seems good. Let's start the commentary.
Hello YouTubers, this is Joshua8428 speaking, and today I'm going to be doing something special.
I want to point out that on his account he says that he's 18. No offense, Joshua, if you're watching this, but you certainly don't sound like that you're 18.
That I have never done before. I'm going to be reviewing a video game. I know what you're thinking.
I'm thinking that after seeing your myriad of bad commentary videos and responses to troll and criticism, that you're digging yourself a bigger hole. But maybe this will be good. For his sake, I hope.
Well, since you do love video games, this is one of many things that we've never seen you do before. Well, at least it's a lot more different from your commentaries. Yeah, true.
Let's just hope for his sake that this is going to be something different from his normal commentaries. Because let's just say his normal commentaries are kinda lacking.
Yeah. Anyways, it's not gonna be just any game. It's gonna be on the masterpiece that was made by Nintendo. To celebrate Zelda's 25th anniversary.
Oh god, he can't be doing a review on what I think he's going to be reviewing. No, it's still way too brand new. He's not really going to do a review on this. Oh god, please don't tell me he's doing a review on this.
If you already guessed, that's right. I'm going to be reviewing none other than The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword.
Can't have nice things in commentaries either. The Zelda fan in me is raging right now. But I understand this has become a very popular game, and I'll agree, Skyward Sword is an amazing game. But I feel like he bit off a bit more than he can chew with choosing this. Well, let's just see how well he handles himself with reviewing Skyward Sword.
I don't have any dramatic music and all that.
Nope. Instead, you have a lot of gaps of silence and stuttering. You'll see what I mean in a few minutes into the video.
And this is my first review on a video game. Okay, here's how I feel about this. The game is actually great. In fact, you.
Here's the thing, Joshua. If you're going to make a review like this, you need to learn to edit your videos. I'm sure you've heard this before time and time again, but for the umpteenth time, edit. Or at least use a script.
In fact, I'm not going to give too much away, but you should start off from. No spoilers, sorry. Okay, like I said, it's my first review, so I'm just gonna do this without editing this.
Question: when have you ever truly edited any of your videos? That's kind of what's gonna kill you, dude. I mean, you've gotten a lot of complaints and criticism about not editing your videos before. Also, why am I hearing you clear your voice in this video? I understand sometimes you need to clear your voice, but please can you at least just edit that out? We don't want to hear that.
Alright. Well, I will agree with IGN and many other people who agree with this, that this is a masterpiece of all time. I will definitely believe that. And how you can use the Wii Motion Plus as the sword and use it in various directions, so that way you can cut through enemies' defenses.
Great use of English right there, Joshua. What a clear, concise sentence. That was a pretty shaky explanation of the use of the Motion Plus controller. Plus, this isn't the first time in Zelda history that they've done this, or remotely close to this. The Wii version of Twilight Princess also utilized the ability of controlling the sword with swinging the Wiimote. Although it's not as in-depth as in Skyward Sword, I know that Joshua knows about the Wii version of Twilight Princess, so he didn't really do a good job explaining the differences between the two.
In in a sort of way. And not only that, but the game is actually is a little bit much tougher than any other Zelda game. They actually pumped up the level on this.
Care to explain how the difficulty has been raised, young Joshua?
Also, there are many things that you can do around the skies. In fact, once you are able to access a certain point, you might be able to do something once in a while.
How revolutionary! You can do things once in a while when you've gotten to certain points. Screw playing with rocks. This is amazing. Again, you need to elaborate, Joshua. Elaborate.
In fact, I'm listening to the CD of the Legend of Zelda 25th anniversary, anniversary music disc to be exact. And it's actually amazing.
Okay, but how does that have anything to do with your previous statement? When you say in fact, the point you're bringing up now relates to the point that you were bringing up before. But really talking about the CD as great as it is doesn't really prove or bring anything to your statement before.
And by listening to this, I could tell that Nintendo did an excellent job on the game, or whoever really made the game. And I don't know who really made it.
Seriously? You don't know who made Skyward Sword? You're questioning if Nintendo made it?
But it was made by Nintendo, and that's who we know. So I'm pretty sure that they might have made the game and published it.
So apparently Joshua doesn't know if Skyward Sword was made and licensed by Nintendo. You know, that's a hard question. In fact, right now I have my friend Blue Turtle over. Say hi, Blue Turtle. And she's heard a little bit about this. So what do you think? Was Skyward Sword made by Nintendo?
It's hard to say.
Well, here, I have the game right here because I was playing it earlier. So let's look. Legend of Zelda Skyward. Oh, hey, look at the bottom corner. It says Nintendo. That's weird. I think that's just only one part of it. Let's look at the back. The Birth of a Legend, Zelda. Oh, look! It's the official Nintendo seal. That's like on all Nintendo games.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still, kind of iffy on this. Blue Turtle knows more about this, so here, why don't you tell us? You do your research. She's really good at figuring out. What do you think?
Well, on the inside, it's very interesting. You'll see that there's an ad for the Nintendo Club.
Whoa!
Isn't that, Nintendo?
Nintendo is Nintendo. Strange.
So, my conclusion? Best Xbox 360 game ever.
Why were we both wearing beanies? I think me and Blue Turtle are high off Harvest Moon. Remember, kids, RPGs are dangerous. Sure, it starts out with you just doing a little hit of farming and ammo parade, but then the next day you're going to be strung out on some Tales of Vesperia. But seriously, Joshua, that was kind of a big mistake you made there. Not having a certainty on who made this game obviously shows on how competent of a video game reviewer you are. If you're going to do a video game review on Skyward Sword, you should know this stuff. And even if you didn't, you're on the internet. You can look this stuff up. I mean, I looked it up. It only took me 5 seconds. Why didn't you do this beforehand?
Anyways. Well, from this, you actually can do many various things all over the skies and even below the surface.
Joshua, why do you intend to keep all these stutters in? For a game review, we want to see a concise, ordered review with someone who can enunciate properly without awkward stutters or gaps of silence. Would you want to see someone from IGN or Game Informer do a review with all this? No, no one would.
Well, I mean, on the surface to be exact. There are many difficult bosses and enemies that you will encounter along the way, including many difficult obstacle courses, which of course you're going to have to master, and many puzzles that you need to solve. In fact, it's pretty amazing.
And yet he doesn't explain why. Seriously, Joshua, can you explain on some of this stuff? Like some of the obstacles you have to go through, or some of the enemies you encounter, or some of the bosses you face? All your statements about Skyward Sword have been very vague. We're already 4 minutes in, and I haven't even heard you talk about the plot, characters, areas, items, except for the sword, which you did a really half-assed job on.
In fact, there's also stuff that you collect, like treasure, insects, and some other stuff.
Okay, there's some explanation, but not enough. In almost any Zelda game, you collect treasure. You missed a big point, too, of that in Skyward Sword, a lot of the collectibles you can get can be used to upgrade items, kind of like an RPG. And also, you collected bugs in Twilight Princess, so there again, you're not really differentiating between the two.
There's also many and there's a little bit of action involved, a little bit of combat.
Holy crow! I never would have expected Skyward Sword to have action in it. Herpity derp, Joshua! It's an action-adventure game. Of course it's gonna have action in it.
Not too much, but there's also ways you can also get from them. By the way, if you're planning on getting the bow and arrow soon, it's gonna have to be sooner because it's gonna take some time to do so.
Reasonable answer, considering that you get the bow in the 5th dungeon. Joshua, have you honestly played this game at all? I've read some of the comments below your video, and many people claim that you haven't beaten the game yet, which is plausible since you wouldn't be making such mistakes like this. Apparently there's a rumor going around that you claim to have beaten the game in a half hour. If there's 100 minutes of cutscenes alone, there's no way you beat the game in a half hour. It took me 6 hours just to get to the beginning of Skyview Temple, which is the first one, by the way.
If you know what I mean. Anyways, the story. The story is great. In fact, it explains what really was going on in the game and what your goal was supposed to be. of course, save Zelda, which of course has been happening in every Zelda game. Well, not in every Zelda game. Most of the time that Link just does things on his own, per se. And he also saves other people from dismay.
You say dismay weird. You're putting some kind of weird emphasis on it. Then again, this is coming from the kid who says the word blasphemy as blasphemy. Also, I love your very bland description of the plot. Details? Who needs that?
But saving things is just the thing. Is the thing that Link does the best.
Oh yeah, new dance club mix. I whip my hair back and forth. 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 Just whip it. I don't even care how dumb that was. That was great. But seriously, Joshua, you need to look back on your video. Your stuttering is really bad. I'm not saying this to be insulting, but seriously, coherence, use it. Editing, use it.
And you also have yourself some great other characters aside from Zelda and Link. In this game, Zelda also has a father, but he's not exactly a king. He's more like a chief in most terms. And also, there are also other characters that aside from Link's father, that.
Whoa, Link's father? I think you mean Zelda's father. And if you mean Link's father, then Joshua, you just revealed a spoiler of the game. Good job, you just totally contradicted what you said you wouldn't do. Also, I love that we're about like 6 minutes into your video, and you've only described 3 characters, Link, Zelda, and Zelda's father, which is named Headmaster Gapora. Let's totally forget about any other important characters like Girahim, or Groose, or even Fi. You're missing so many important things about this game. I understand you don't want to reveal spoilers, but most of these things you either learn within the few minutes of the game, or have already seen from trailers. Why can't you just disclose them?
Actually, some of them play an important role, and some of them are just like people that you just talk to, and some characters are like just making business, if you know what I mean.
No, I don't. Almost every other Zelda game has this, and it's not just Zelda, but other game series as well. Why is this so principal to the game? Does it set Skyward Sword apart from the other games? Because it doesn't.
And well, from all what I can gather, it's actually great. In fact, we also have ourselves the main protagonist, Link, and some supporting characters.
Like in every other Zelda game. Shocking! I have a feeling he doesn't know anything about this game. Or he's probably still looking for his Loftwing around Skyloft. Which, if you don't know, that's in the very beginning of the game.
We also got the main antagonist, which of course I can't really say the name very properly.
No offense, but you can't say a lot of things properly. It's not a hard name. Girahim. And even if it was really that hard for you, you should have looked it up beforehand so that way you'd be able to say it. Also, proof that you still haven't beaten the game. Not to spoil anything, but Girahim isn't the only one you need to be looking out for in the game.
So you should know. So you're gonna have to tell someone else who may want to spoil this, which of course I'm not going to spoil too much of it.
I really wouldn't worry about spoiling the game since you haven't even really told us anything about it. Seriously, Joshua, we're almost to about 7 minutes into your video, and in about half the time, I could explain about 500% more than you have so far.
But it's actually interesting.
Was all that lip smacking necessary? And you really want to be taken seriously in this video game review? Edit!
There are also some special moves that Link can do, which of course was similar to Twilight Princess, like the Death Blow per se, and also you can also do a spin attack vertically, which is actually amazing what Nintendo is doing right there.
Finally, some detail! Thank you, Joshua. That's what we've been wanting to hear. The case you're making, followed by a reasonable and good example. Provided it was only one and it wasn't all that good. I'll give it to you.
In fact, it's
And now you've lost that merit. Come on, Joshua, what was that? You wasted 22 seconds of just silence, smacking lips, and what sound like you were opening a water bottle. I assume you were taking a drink. If you were, that's fine, but edit that out! If you cut out all your weird gaps of silence and stammering, you could probably shorten this video to under 6 minutes.
it's also very promising because, well, what's more than finding monsters, solving puzzles, and all that stuff? But you can actually also have fun with the game also. Well, of course, that's what's the point of video games. But but hear me out on this.
Yes, hear him out over stammering, gaps of silence, and his generalized explanations. Joshua, a second grade essay has more explanation than this whole video does. I'm going to hear you out when you haven't given enough sufficient detail. If this was a school report and you had to turn this into the teacher, she'd probably give you a D or an F because you failed to do one thing. Elaborate! You need to learn how to elaborate. If you're 18, then I'm pretty sure you've written a lot of essays, such as I have. What's the most important thing about explaining your thesis? Elaborating!
When I mean by fun, I mean there are a lot of things. There are a lot of things you can do. Of course, there might have been in every Zelda game, but just don't quote me on that. I'm just bringing this up because I want to.
Don't worry about getting quoted, Joshua. Worry more about all the criticism you're gonna get, because you're gonna get a lot. If this is only your first video game review, I don't want to see the rest. And also, bringing up something just because you want to, if it doesn't help prove what you're trying to say, then don't bring it up. It would be like if I just randomly said, Parades by Efterklang is one of the best albums ever. And yes, you can quote me on that.
And from all of this, I will safely say IGN actually gave this a very well good score for this.
Very well good score for this? Joshua, this is an English grammar book. Use it to properly construct your sentences. Not to be mean, but I know people who learned English as a second or even third language and can speak it better than you.
And if any of you agree with me, then by all means, comment. Yeah.
But don't put a comment if you don't agree with me because I don't like criticism. And this video is apparent that I haven't been taking the criticism of properly scripting my videos and editing them to make them sound and look more appealing.
However, there is one thing I would have to say about the game, but I really don't like very much.
Okay, Akani has with the game. That's good. That's fine. This time he might go in depth about something and give us a reasonable excuse. I look forward to hearing about this.
I mean, it's not too much of a big deal, but at the same time, it's just my opinion.
As long as you back it up with a reasonable explanation, I think we'll be okay. Like, for instance, I do have some gripes about Skyward Sword. Sometimes when throwing or rolling bombs, the game doesn't react very well for some reason. I just end up keep on holding it even though I'm trying to roll it, and it just blows up in my face. Or steering in the air when you're skydiving, it's a bit of a hassle because pointing to the left just a little bit makes you go really far over to the left, and sometimes hard to steer back.
It's the animation. I mean, it's not as good as Twilight Princess because, if you recall, but Twilight Princess actually had much better animations than Skyward Sword did. I mean, it may not be the best animation, but they could have at least tweaked out things a little bit, like they did in Twilight Princess.
Why is it that whenever a new Zelda game comes out, people have to bitch and whine about the graphics? Especially Skyward Sword. I mean, that was like the top complaint I remember hearing about when we finally got images of Skyward Sword. I remember going to Comic-Con and people being like, yeah, I don't like how it looks. The Wind Waker fans and the Twilight Princess fans whined that the game's graphics weren't going to be as good as their favorite games, and that it wasn't going to be as eye-appealing, and that's going to make the game bad. The art style for Skyward Sword is based off on the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. They're from the older games. That's like saying you don't like how young Link looked in Majora's Mask, but you liked how he looked in Ocarina of Time. I've never seen any other fan base where people gripe this much about the animation. Not in Mario, not in Star Fox, not in Tasmanian Tiger, not in Sly Cooper, not in Earthbound. Oh, I better not hear it in Earthbound. I'm sorry, Joshua, but Knack the Weasel is disappointed. Nintendo even stated that Skyward Sword was going to be based off everyone's favorites, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess's art styles, because everyone liked them. And you may just say that I'm just being an irrationally acting Icelander, but I find graphics whining to be the most pointless thing ever about a game. Unless it's seriously detrimental to the game, then I don't see a point. Also, I'd like to add that if you're really going to discuss about the graphics, maybe you could actually pull up some pictures to show us how bad the graphics are, but instead the entire almost 10-minute video, all you do is just show a picture of your crappy recolor.
Then again, this is Zelda for crying out loud. How am I supposed to complain about the graphics when the gameplay is actually much more important?
Okay, I guess he redeemed himself there a little bit.
Well, that's pretty much all I have to say right there. I hope you enjoyed listening to this review, and I know it was pretty short and may not have been the best.
Because apparently an almost 10-minute video with a lot of gases, silence, stuttering, and smacking lips is short. Well, at least he was half right. This really wasn't his best. In fact, I'd almost consider it to be worse than some of his other commentaries. I mean, overall, for a game review, this was very, very subpar.
But this is my first time, so don't go too harsh on me, alright?
But because this is your first time, you should have worked harder to make a good impression on us. Imagine it's like the first day of a new school. You want to really show people how capable you are at what you do, whether it be the students, the teachers, etc. Screwing up on that first day means you're just going to have to work your way back up to the top. So now that's what you have to do, Joshua. No offense, but you really botched this first impression. I don't see your other video games review being any better if this is how you're going to be doing your reviews.
But you can't give me constructive criticism on my next review if I have a plan on doing one.
So we can't give constructive criticism on this video for this video, but we can on the next one if you're going to make it. Something tells me that you won't. And if you do, you're probably going to negate with a statement by saying, no harsh criticism in the comments, please. When any criticism you get, you label harsh. Joshua, I'm telling you this as a nice person. I don't want you to be made fun of and looked down upon by other people any more than you do. But you're making it too easy. You don't respond to criticism at all, and you counter-bully anyone who's bullied you. What you need to start doing is start taking some people's advice, or at least acknowledging them. But instead, you get all butthurt when people call you out for your faults that can be easily fixed.
Alrighty, now to wrap things up. Without further ado, this is Joshua8428, signing off.
And at the 9-minute and 54-second mark, we finished the video. Wow. First commentary summation. What can I say? Joshua8428 or 8428, who cares? If you're truly going to keep this reviewing video game idea up, you need to make a lot of changes. From what you have said about Skyward Sword, I have gathered almost nothing from this. When Blue Turtle and I were looking at this video, we noticed something. Your description of the game is almost the same information given on the box of the special edition of Skyward Sword. I almost think that you just walked into a store, read the game's box, and then went home to do this review, because you talk truly absolutely nothing about the game at all. You give some vague descriptions, but we need more on the game. You failed to mention a lot of things that are featured in the game, like the fact that the sword can be used as a dowsing rod, eliminating the need for a compass in dungeons, explaining any areas of the game, some familiar items you get like bombs and a slingshot, the use of new items like the sailcloth, the ability to upgrade your items. Hell, you didn't even mention anything about the loft wings or flying. Details, Joshua. Details. Well, I think I'll wrap up this video here. If you like this commentary idea, please tell me so. Also, unlike Joshua, I appreciate constructive criticism. I know this is my first time, and I'm expecting there to be a lot of errors in this, but I'm willing to learn. If you like this video, feel free to check out my Let's Plays, which are crappy and Icelandic. Until next time, this is Sir Raven Commentary saying bless.